Tonight at 10, the head of the Metropolitan Police, Dame Cressida Dick, resigns, admitting recent scandals have damaged public confidence. But she maintained she was the one who could bring about change. The Mayor of London disagreed.
He has left me no choice but to step aside. I say this with deep sadness and regret.
It's clear that the only way to start to deliver the scale of the change required is to have new leadership right at the top of the Metropolitan Police.
The policing of mass protests after the murder of Sarah Everard by a serving officer and claims that misogyny, racism and homophobia are rife in the force took their toll. So how can public confidence be restored in the UK's biggest police force? Also tonight, a frosty meeting in Moscow between the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss and her Russian counterpart to avoid war in Ukraine.
The
conversation we had was like a deaf person talking to someone who's mute.
Boris Johnson meets NATO troops in Poland but comes under attack back home. A former Prime Minister criticises the Downing Street parties.
Day after day, the public was asked to believe the unbelievable. Ministers were sent out to defend the indefensible.
Questions tonight over whether the Queen has COVID after seeing Prince Charles, who tests positive. And following his collapse on the pitch during the Euros, Christian Eriksen prepares for his Brentford debut, lucky to be alive.
And coming up in the sport on the BBC News Channel, we'll have a roundup of all the Premier League action as Liverpool host Leicester, looking to cut Man City's lead at the top.
Good evening. The UK's most senior police officer, Dame Cressida Dick, has resigned as head of the Metropolitan Police. In a statement, she said it was clear the Mayor of London no longer had sufficient confidence in her leadership, and she was left with no choice but to step aside. She'd been in the job since 2017, had only recently been given a contract extension. But her time as Commissioner involved several scandals, including the murder of Sarah Everard by a serving officer, and a recent report into sexist, racist and homophobic messages being shared between officers at Charing Cross Police Station. Tonight, London's Mayor Sadiq Khan said he wasn't satisfied with the Commissioner's response to the need to rebuild the trust and confidence of Londoners in the Met. And the scale of change required meant new leadership right at the top. Here's our Home Affairs correspondent, June Kelly, a warning her report contains some flashing images.